In the last couple of months, I've been on different shows and we've been talking about relationships and how, is there the perfect kind of relationship? Is there the one for you out there? Is there somebody, a kind of person that you're meant to be looking out for that will give you everything, like we say, your one and only, your all in all, your knight in shining armor or damsel in distress, we're going to do a series and we're going to be talking about relationships, and I hope that I'm able to share some personal experiences. I also hope that I'm also going to be able to share some experiences that I've heard from certain people and how it has either marred or made them. Because the truth, the one most important relationship in your entire life will be your emotional relationships. Romantic relationships, I mean. So whether your spouse, whether your boyfriend or girlfriend, or those kind of romantic relationships, if you choose wrongly, it can break you completely. But if you also choose wisely, it can help you become the best version of yourself. Which one would you choose? Join us on this journey as we talk a little bit about relationships, where I share some of my stories. My name is Adiola Kingsley James, and have a wonderful time with us.
As a man or a woman, how does who I marry affect the kind of person I am or the kind of person I want to be?
Ooh. So, I think generally, whether a man or woman, like I said, it's important to choose right for you. And when I say choose right, I don't personally believe that there is the one that was brought down from heaven for me, and until I find him I cannot find peace, or until I find her I cannot find peace. But there are certain things that we can then align on that will make us know whether we're compatible or not. Now, the first thing you want to really look at is where that person has come from. What is their nature and what is their nurture? We're talking culture, we're talking how they were cultivated, because every human being is like a seed. That's the way I look at it. And that seed is put into a ground, and words are spoken onto that seed. Water is poured onto that seed. It's cultivated in a particular way for either it to thrive or for it to die. Because if people put a seed in the soil and it's not watered, right? And it's not cared for, and the weeds come out. The weeds can be more than what the seed or the tree or the fruit can handle. And what then happens? It swallows it up. It's the same thing with human beings. If you are somebody who is come from a loving family, there was a lot of love, there was a lot of connection, there was a lot of touch, there was a lot of relationship, there's a lot of memories of spending time together, having breakfast together, having lunch together, having dinner together, going out traveling together. And then you meet somebody who has come from a broken home. Father, mother, terrible breakage. The children really suffered it. And then they've gone from home to home, finding how to exist. Chances are that person will never understand what it means to be loved. That person will never understand togetherness. This is unless the person has gone through help, has gone through some kind of support. Other than that, that's the sound of my dog. He's by my side, so you can just know that I'm recording with my dog at the moment and he's sneezing. But let's keep going. So it's you being able to say that this person, where has he come from? How did he grow? What are his roots? Or what are her roots? If they've come from a broken family and they haven't been through any kind of therapy or gone through any kind of counseling and gotten better as a human being and started to understand from the other angle, they will never understand what it feels like. I'll give you a personal example. It's the same thing that happened in my house. I've come from a home where we used to have lunch together, have dinner together, spend time together. I wouldn't also say that we were so tight, but there was a lot of family. There was a lot of spending time together. We would call each other. We spent a lot of time together. But then I married somebody who's come from a broken home. And so, not just that, his father then remarried, they have a different family and a different dynamism, okay? Now, sometimes when I'm calling my sisters or we're in each other's spaces, my husband doesn't understand what it means. He doesn't, because he didn't have that upbringing. He didn't grow up in that space. Now, can he learn it? Yes, he can. If only he's willing and able. However, it is not something that will happen automatically. So is there a challenge could there be a challenge with choosing the wrong person? Just this thing that I've mentioned might seem, but it's not that much of a big deal. It can break a marriage. Some people are like, you press your toothpaste from the middle. Some people press it from the beginning of the tube or from the bottom of the tube. And just because of that, people have broken up. Pull up the toilet seat, the men pee. So many little things like that. And it seems little. My husband is sometimes, I can't say that I'm the neatest person on earth, but I'm not even trying to be. But there's some people who have that challenge. Everywhere has to be set up a particular way. It has to be put in particular lines. That's who I married. So you know what? For him not to go crazy, he starts to pick up after me. Otherwise, what's gonna happen? So it's finding those and having those conversations from the beginning. There's plenty of conversations we need to have from the beginning. But first of all, when you're dating, and that's why it's so good to date. And it's good, the dating shouldn't just be we're going to the cinema or we're going to eat every time. The dating should be a part where we have certain conversations. We're talking financials, we're talking intimacy, we're talking sex, we're talking kids, we're talking the things that we want, we're talking our desires, we're talking some of our fantasies. Because sometimes you want to share those fantasies as well, so that the man or the woman knows whether this is something that I'm able to give this woman as a reality. And not to say that all your fantasies will come true. However, it's very important that you share some of them. Now, will some people think of you and say, oh my goodness, this person is a this or that? Possible. But at least they know who you are. So can the person you end up with make or break you? Absolutely. Because if these conversations and many more are not had from the beginning, there's going to be a huge problem. And the chances of that marriage in not surviving is high.
How then do I know the right person for me?
Okay, how do you know the right person for you? It starts with your conversations, right? What are your values? What are the things that are important to you? What is your belief system? Because that is like almost the essence of anybody. For some people you hear, honesty, integrity is big for me. For some people it's family. For some people it's work. For some people it's being able to provide for my family. Now, if you had that kind of conversation and we're able to share the values that we both have, we're able to look at the mission that we have in life. Because your partners also can either help you get to that mission or mess the mission up. Your partners it's not just with business, but the people you spend time with. So what are the mission? What do you think your mission on earth is? Maybe you have a purpose on earth. What is it? What is that purpose? What is your purpose on earth? If one of you is to be killing people, that's your purpose. And the other person is to be mending people. Should you be with the person that is killing people? I don't think so. And that's just me using a very, a blanket conversation or statement to say, there's this and there's that. If our values don't align, the vision that we have for our family or our lives don't align. The mission, and it's not just an organization that should go through this. I think every human being and every relationship should sit down and have this conversation and see how they align. Now, if you do not align, it doesn't mean that the person is a bad person or a bad match for you. It just means that the person is not the right person for you at that time. Now, you might already be in love with the person. You might want to. That's why you should have these conversations in the beginning before you start to throw in emotions and start to throw in intimacy, because it can actually mess you up. When you go on your first couple of dates, those are the conversations you start to have from the first couple of dates. I like you. Oh, fantastic. let's go on a date. When you sit down, don't go to a restaurant that is so loud and all you people are doing are eating once again. Because right now, everybody's date is either movies or going to the park or going to eat. Everything has food surrounded in it, or music, or drinks, or hanging out with friends. Though all those things I think will come. But what about having those conversations that are connected to your soul, right? What do you think about a woman who is a wife? Who is a mother? Who is a husband? Who is a father? Who is a man? Just these three questions that they've thrown out there. You know, some people think that a woman, her only job is to be in the kitchen. Like our president said, the other room. That's not, and this woman is thinking, I'm a doctor, I've studied up to my doctorate degree, and I'm with a man who thinks that I shouldn't work. It's in this dating stage that you find that out. Don't wait till you're married for him to then say, oh no, you're not working, and you'll be like, what? You didn't tell me. Well, you didn't ask. So this is the I think it's at that beginning of a relationship that you sit down and ask this question, because I'm a firm believer that two people cannot work together except they agree. I also made this mistake as well, and I'm not even going to lie. I didn't know the questions to ask when I was going to get married. When I was dating, I didn't know the questions to ask. It was all about, just us spending time with each other and maybe asking a few questions, knowing ourselves, but talking financials, some things we even talked about that I said yes to. I didn't even think about it properly before I said yes to them. I didn't. I said yes to them thinking it will change. And that's another mistake we make. We listen to people and say, don't worry, just let's get into it first. And then later in the relationship, we will change the other person. It doesn't happen that way. And most people will not change except they want to. So I made huge mistakes as well, but I didn't know better. So would I call them mistakes? I still will call them mistakes, because ignorance is not an excuse. There's a lot of information out there. You need to search for the information and apply it to yourself to help you choose right for you. Too many marriages these days are going through a lot of turmoil. And it doesn't mean that, because we align, we will not have challenges. We will. But because we have more things together than separate, it'll be easier for us to have conversations. In our dating phase, we'll ask questions about therapy. Do you believe in therapy? Do you believe in counseling? Should we have one that stays with us whenever we need some clarity on something? Now, if you're with a man who says therapy, that's complete bollocks, like I am, right? I'm with a man who doesn't believe in therapy, and I'm a therapist. Let us laugh over that a little bit. I'm with a man who doesn't believe in therapy, and I am a therapist. And I'm not only a therapist, I'm a hypnotherapist on top of it. So imagine me living with somebody who thinks what I'm doing is complete bollocks and doesn't believe in it, right? But that's what I do as a profession. Now, of course, because I've gotten over so many things and I've learned so many things, I can live with anybody now. But imagine if I hadn't become a better version of myself, I most likely won't be with the man that I'm with right now. Because I would have said, you know what, you don't even believe in what I do, right? And it would have been a huge mess. So avoid some of the challenges that we didn't know about and get help. You might not be able to do this thing by yourself. I always say, get help, okay? So choosing for yourself, there's so many questions you need to ask. Get a counselor that can help you know these questions so that you can avoid so many mistakes in future.